Thank you for staying with us. Before we went on break, Ayo said that we had spoken about one hot topic and we were going into another hot topic. Of course, the issue of fuel has been hot since this government came into power in 2023. And in the last 6 months, it became even hotter with the price of petrol going up like every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the price would change at the pump. But when the news came on Tuesday that the Port Harcourt Refinery had resumed operations after years of inactivity, there was muted jubilation. And I say muted because people weren't exactly sure what was going on. That is how, when we heard that Dangote refineries had come on stream, hey, we were jubilating. We thought, okay, there'll be plenty of petrol, and therefore automatically the price would crash. But to our utter chagrin, instead of the price going down, it went up. So what is the implication of the Port Harcourt Refinery coming on board? Or has it? That is where we should start this conversation from. To discuss this with us this morning, we have an energy consultant, Mr. Olabode Shomi. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Thank you for joining us today.
It's always a pleasure.
So, has Port Harcourt come on stream?
Yes, it has.
Is it producing diesel or PMS?
Yes, it is. So I think fundamentally, there are certain things we all should, brace ourselves with in terms of when you want to verify facts. So I remember a few days ago, virtually all the stations, channels inclusive, had some reporter who was at the venue. They did report seeing the trucks being loaded.
With what?
Different products. So there were different reports from different stations. I remember watching Arise, I remember watching News, I remember watching a number of them. And they did report saying that, and they did report saying that they spoke to the drivers of the trucks. Now, if we don't believe people who are on site, and we choose to believe people who are not on site, then we now begin to ask ourselves, what is the foundation for what we hold to be true?
Well, Mr. Shomi, we've heard all kinds of rumors. Reported.
Yes, reported. So
I'm sorry, because we don't have much time for this topic, this conversation today. Mm-hmm. In 2015, it was reported that the Port Harcourt refineries has started working.
True.
2016, Port Harcourt Refinery has commenced operations. Mm-hmm. 2023 December, the same thing. March this year, the same thing. So you don't blame anyone who is coming with skepticism.
So people have a right to be skeptical. You understand? But it is not a trial that we are going on. So we are not holding history accountable. We are just trying to verify facts. And what I'm simply saying, and please don't get me wrong, I'm actually wearing the cap of a Nigerian. And I'm not in law enforcement, neither am I a lawyer. I'm not an expert in all those fields. I'm just saying that, how will I verify something to be true? There has to be a basis. And what I'm saying is that somebody who is a witness is a more credible source of information than somebody who is deducting or implying. So it's a different case if you say you have been there and you didn't see it, rather than saying that based on the activities I'm looking at from the outside, it appears like nothing is happening. So what I'm just saying is that, at the end of the day, it's freedom of choice. You can choose what to believe in. But also, the NNPC has had rejoinders, other people have spoken and all that, so that at the end of the day, we don't spend our times measuring on minors. Let us look at what the key things that are technical. Because
so what are these technical things?
The industry. the production. How did they overcome the issues? What is the implication of the industry to the economy? I mean, the things for which
there are those who
we are
said,
professional.
There are those who have said that the 60,000 barrels per day capacity refinery that we are talking about is like a drop in the ocean of our need in the country. Bismarck Rwani, for instance, I remember him saying on Business Morning on Sunrise that it's just about 50%, it was just about 5% of what we need in country. So why then would you, why do you think there's so much noise about this particular refinery when it's just promising about 5% of the market value?
Okay, so a couple of things on that. While he's right, it's also about perspective. People seem to forget that, like the Chinese say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Every single liter additional into the economy is positive, is progress. So if we had 5% from this, and 2% from this, and 7% from this, we are ultimately making progress. That is on one side. On the other side is that refinery has not been working for close to 2 decades. It's been on for close to 60 years. I mean, it's in 1963 or so that the refinery was built. Now, the reasons why it wasn't working are not technical. So it's not like the engineers, it's not an engineering issue. There are other issues. There are human factors. And those human factors were not overcome across close to 2 decades. So by the time you are looking at the last manager or the last foreman that worked in that place, the person is probably with the ancestors somewhere or retired decades ago as well. So for whatever reason and whatever they overcome to get that working, it's not a milestone, but it is an achievement.
One of the challenges that people have had about this whole thing is, or rather part of the skepticism is whether this is even sustainable. Whether it's not just, we're just blowing air for people to see that there is some activity at the PH refinery, and then maybe in another week or two, we just hear that, okay, well, there was someone removed the tire of one of this thing, and then it's not working again, and we now go back to the drawing board. What can you say? You are in this field, you are in the industry. What can you say about the sustainability?
So when it comes to sustainability, it's one of those things that there is not pure science. So I'll give you this example. You probably watch football. Auntie is smiling. Leicester was facing Man City, which is supposed to be a weaker club. They ended up beating them, I think it was 4-0 or something. Guess what? When they scored the first goal, everybody was saying that, no, these people are going to come back. They'll probably lose 3-1 or 4-1. Then they scored the second one. Then they scored the third one. The point is this: whether it is sustainable, whether it is going to be sustainable or not, the way things get sustainable is for you to continue to make progress. That's the concept of sustainability. Now, by getting it to work is progress. Then they need to make more effort to put up a system in there. So then they need to put audit to work. You understand? So that you will not get to the point of sustainability. But when you have made an initial progress and all you are hearing is that this thing is not sustainable, it reminds you of those who are trying to build and people are distracting them. And we as Nigerians need to know what matters and what does not matter, so that we do not give what matters at the expense of what does not matter. What matters is the people that are working. So it's like the same football. Who are the people that matter? The players on the field. Okay. Not the one that is on the stand saying that guy is playing like a pregnant woman.
Okay, Mr. Jomi, we hear that there are 2 units in Port Harcourt.
Yes.
The one that is working now is the smaller of the 2.
Yes.
The 60 barrels per day. What news do we have of the bigger one that can actually refine 150,000 per day?
Okay, so as you know...
Which is the more modern of the 2, correct?
Yes. So whether it's modern or ancient, you know that book, Ancient and Modern? What matters is productivity.
No, I think you're being gentle here or whatever. You know, the Nigerian out there recognizes how much has been spent on what they call turnaround maintenance. In fact, that term became very, very prominent in the days of President Obasanjo.
True.
Turnaround maintenance, and you keep turning around and there is nothing turned around. So if so much money has been spent, and it will sound like no one is going to be asked questions, no one is going to get punished for that, no head is going to roll for the monies, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars that have been spent, and nothing has happened up until now. So the question then is, so it's not about whether or not, it has to work. So what is it? I mean, you've talked about creating a system to ensure that this thing works. What are the impediments? There are those who will probably allege that, okay, maybe it's because of some sabotage. Right now, we know that Dangote is on stream, Bua is coming on stream. We also understand that some other refinery here and there, they're also coming on stream. The government already has a bad name because they don't keep their promises. So there will be those who would allege, for instance, that, okay, maybe because of some sabotage somewhere, that is why these things are not working. So we can't give that excuse. Nigerians are very, very worried about hundreds of billions of dollars that have been spent to turn around something that is not turned around.
Okay, so this is what you're talking about is an issue of a fault or an imperfection in governance that spans across decades. So only that this is now looking at the petroleum industry. People seem to forget that up to very recently, NNPC was a purely, wholly government function. They were made of civil servants. So whether you look at Ministry of Agric, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Sports, anywhere where it was public sector, they are all issues that you can point out to. These are about imperfections in public service issues.
But now the NNPC is a limited liability.
Hold on, but it's still 100% government owned. And it is taking time. It is taking time to evolve. So
I apologize. It is 100% government owned, but so is the significantly owned by government is also the NLNG, and it has run almost like a fully privatized organization over the years.
Okay, so government has minority shares in NLNG.
Okay.
But like I said, it's a different issue because we are now going to be going to corporate governance, corporate culture.
Is that the problem?
Like I said, we could go into that, but we'll completely divert from the discussion because they are completely different issues.
Okay.
There is an issue and a place where culture plays in the running of an organization, which is one thing I believe Nigerians are not even familiar about. And I'll give you a simple example to do that. Supposing you got a Nobel laureate in economics and you brought him to run the central bank. I mean, it's a Nobel laureate in economics, world-renowned, he's done all those things. But he's a recluse. So he comes in and they greet him, "Good morning, sir." He doesn't answer. "Would you like tea, sir?" "Shut up. I'm very focused." So he calls a meeting of the board of directors. You are very stupid. From my experience, he talks down on people and all that. Will he succeed? He won't succeed. But the reason for not succeeding is not technical. It is because he is bringing in an attitude that is against the culture of the organization. So now this is the thing. Peter Drucker,
the civil service culture.
Peter Drucker said something. He said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture always defeats strategy. So when we are talking about some of these organizations where certain things will work, we are talking about organizational culture. And there is culture in every organization that is different. The culture in NNPC is different from Shell, and that is different from Chevron, and that is different from Total, and that is different from NLNG. What I'm trying to say is that we can go into that, but we'll totally move away from the discussion.
So what needs to, I'm very particular about the sustainability. As Alero said, I mean, you are also aware all kinds of, what's the word now? Theories about whether or not the PH refinery has actually taken off. Now, let's take your word for it. There's evidence, reportage about it. And the issue now is that of sustainability, and we have just 1 minute. What must be done, in your opinion?
Okay, so sustainability is not dependent on one thing. because that's also another thing that is wrong in the thinking. So it's like a couple that is having problem having childbirth. They go and see the doctor. It doesn't mean it's one issue. There can be a myriad of issues. It can be that they're not eating well. It can be that they're not meeting at the right time. It can be somebody has health challenges. So we are assuming that sustainability, or when it comes to run, because an organization is also an organism. It is made up of systems, just like you have digestive system.
Can you guarantee that this refinery will be, this new resumption will be sustained?
So that is not within my
You are in
scope
the industry.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
hold on. I want to explain something.
Are there any signs
Yes,
that it can
there
be?
is everything that it will work. We just need to continue doing the things that we are doing in the energy that we are doing it, and it will work. When it comes to guaranteeing, what guarantees success is continuing to do the right things.
Okay.
So people need to, okay, for example, somebody studied and had A in WAEC, all A's. But he failed, he stopped reading, and when he got to part 1, he failed. Why? Because he stopped reading. So the fact that you have succeeded in all A's does not mean when you get to university you stop reading. So we continue doing the positive things that we are doing.
And add some prayers.
Which is not wrong. And as long as we continue doing it, we become sustainable. So the key point is this. We have spent a lot of energy being pessimistic. That the capacity to be optimistic is now strange.
Okay.
And you don't suddenly change from being pessimistic to being optimistic. The mind does not work that way.
Okay. I think that's a place. That's a good place to leave it.
To suspend
Mr. Shomi, you have managed to dodge a lot of the questions that we have asked.
Incidentally, I didn't come with a bulletproof.
It's fine. It's fine. Thank you very much for coming all the same. Energy consultant, Mr. Olabode Shomi.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
The pleasure is mine.
We shall return in just a moment with another interesting conversation. Make sure you stay.